Good to have you with us. A violent weekend across the globe. We've got it all covered for you. I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Savannah Sellers. We're going to start this hour with that breaking news. First, out of California, filmmaker and actor Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle Singer were found stabbed to death in their Los Angeles home, according to a source close to the family.
Paramedics and police were called to Reiner's home yesterday afternoon in the Brentwood neighborhood. They were responding to a report of two deceased people. So far, police have not officially confirmed their deaths. They've only said they're investigating a homicide at the Reiner's home. NBC News correspondent Morgan Chesky is near that home with the latest. Morgan, good morning.
Yeah, here in Brentwood this morning, this investigation just getting started. And in fact, less than a block behind me, you can see that the crime scene unit remains just in front of the home that authorities say belonged to Rob Reiner and his wife. That is the location where firefighters were initially dispatched Sunday afternoon. Shortly thereafter, they called for LAPD, and it was inside that home that police confirmed they found the body of a 78-year-old man and a woman. A source close to the family confirming it was indeed Hollywood legend Rob Reiner and his wife. As for where the investigation goes from here, LAPD is saying very little at this time, saying that they do not have a suspect or person of interest, and they're letting the investigators scour this scene in hopes of learning more about what took place. The cause of death, officially, we're still awaiting to hear from the coroner. However, a source close to the family says that both were apparently suffering from multiple stab wounds. As far as the scene here in Brentwood, this scene very much closed off. We do anticipate hearing from investigators at some point later today in hopes of learning much more. The Reiner family did release a statement overnight asking for privacy during this incredibly difficult time. As for the 78-year-old Reiner, he was a legend of Hollywood, the son of another Hollywood legend, of course, that being Carl Reiner. But Rob Reiner is successful in his own right, both as an actor, writer, and director, known for beloved movies such as When Harry Met Sally, The Princess Bride, and A Few Good Men. As for what could be potentially behind the death of both Reiner and his wife, that is unknown at this hour, but a stunning loss in the Hollywood community here this morning. We'll send it back to you.
Right. Morgan, thank you so much. Australia is in shock after one of its worst mass shootings in decades that left at least 15 people killed and dozens injured. Happened on Sunday at an event celebrating the Jewish holiday of Hanukkah in Sydney's famous Bondi Beach. Police say two gunmen, a father and son, are suspected of being behind the shooting, which authorities are calling an act of anti-Semitism and a terror attack.
Among the victims, a 10-year-old girl and a rabbi. Police say one of the gunmen was killed while the other is in critical condition in the hospital. Amid the carnage, a story of heroism. This eyewitness video, look at this. It shows the moment a 43-year-old bystander approached one of the gunmen and wrestled the weapon out of his hands. The hero was identified as Ahmed El Ahmed, a Muslim fruit shop owner.
NBC News correspondent Janice Mackey-Frayer joins us now with more on this story. So, Janice, walk us through how this all unfolded on Sunday and what we're learning about the victims.
Well, people who were there describe it as 9 minutes of terror at the most famous stretch of beach in Australia. It's where Jewish families were having a Hanukkah event to celebrate the Festival of Lights. They had food and face painting, and then the shooting rampage started. And several witnesses said they thought the popping sound was actually fireworks. But two men, a father and son, opened fire with long rifles, shooting indiscriminately, methodically from a bridge. The videos are distressing. They show people falling, screaming, families scrambling to find their kids. The Prime Minister has called the attack an act of evil. 15 innocent people were killed, including a 10-year-old, a rabbi, and a Holocaust survivor. At least 40 people are in hospital with injuries, including two police officers, and that extraordinary bystander you mentioned who tackled the older gunman to alter the circumstances and save lives by doing so. Joan, Savannah?
Janice, what are we learning from authorities at this point about the father and son suspects in the shooting?
Well, ABC Australia is now citing police as identifying the suspects as a father and son, Sajid Akram, 50, who was killed during the incident, and Naveed Akram, 24, who is hospitalized. The father was a licensed gun owner with 6 registered weapons, and according to security officials quoted by news agencies, the son, Naveed, was known to authorities. He was allegedly being investigated for aligning with radical views, but was not deemed to be an immediate threat. Investigators raided a home in the western suburbs of Sydney, believed to be connected to the attack. Forensic experts were seen arriving in full protective gear. And in addition to the weapons and ammunition found in a car, investigators say they also discovered pipe bombs. Savannah?
Janice, you mentioned, and we showed you this extraordinary moment when the bystander put his life on the line to disarm one of the shooters. We could sort of see at the tail end of that video then, he puts the gun down. Perhaps he didn't want authorities to think he was the gunman. Well, then we understand after that somehow the gunman got another gun, shot him. He was taken to the hospital. What are we learning about how he's doing now?
Ahmed Al-Ahmed, who is a father of 2 and owns a fruit shop, was seen in cell phone videos from multiple angles, hiding behind the car and waiting for the opportunity to stop the gunman. And he did. He tackled him, and he was able to wrestle that gun away from the older gunman, the father. And then he turned it on him, but he didn't fire. We see the gunman slinking away. He got back to the bridge where the son was. He picked up another weapon, and they kept firing. And that's when police shot the 2 assailants. Ahmed Al-Ahmed was injured, said to be shot in the shoulder, and he's undergoing surgery at a Sydney hospital. He has wide-scale admiration for his bravery. He really is being hailed as a hero.
I mean, the video is it's just incredible to watch. Janice, it looks like the Australian government is looking to take a tougher stance on gun laws in the wake of this attack, right? Tell us a little bit about how they're responding, what that could.
Well, Australia's gun laws are already among the toughest in the world. The country has one of the lowest homicide rates. So mass shootings for a lot of people, like the massacre at Bondi, it's the sort of tragedy that just happens elsewhere. The government is already vowing stricter gun laws. Here's what the Prime Minister said today.
I will put on the agenda of the National Cabinet tougher gun laws, including limits on the number of guns that can be used or licensed by individuals. A review of licences over a period of time. People's circumstances change. People can be radicalised over a period of time.
Australia's Jewish leaders have been publicly urging the Australian government to do more to address what they call rising anti-Semitism in the country after protests over Israel's war in Gaza, as well as a rise in the number of reports of vandalism at Jewish sites. This was the deadliest mass shooting in Australia in almost 30 years, and there really is an overwhelming sense of shock and grief as we learn more about the victims and how this could have happened. Joe and Savannah.
Janice, thank you so much for your reporting. We do have an update this morning on another deadly shooting here in America, this one at Brown University. Overnight, authorities in Rhode Island released a man who had been identified as a person of interest in the weekend shooting. Now the search continues for the person who opened fire on students as they prepared for final exams at the Ivy League school. 2 people were killed, 9 others were injured. NBC News correspondent Aaron McLaughlin has the latest from Providence.
Overnight, a stunning development in the ongoing investigation into the deadly shooting at Brown University.
We know that this is likely to cause fresh anxiety for our community.
Authorities releasing the man they had detained and initially called a person of interest in the shooting that killed 2 and left 9 injured.
We didn't have enough, obviously, to be able to prosecute anybody, and so the person was released.
Hours before the announcement, I spoke with the police chief.
How confident are you that you have the suspect?
I'm pretty confident.
On Saturday, authorities released this surveillance video that shows the potential shooter walking away from the crime scene. Police say the unidentified subject in that video remains a person of interest in this case. This new video shows terrified students hiding in the library before police stormed the room. The shooting occurred Saturday afternoon inside an academic building on the Ivy League campus as students were studying for final exams.
There's people rushing past me, but I didn't realize what was going on.
Brown University junior Amit Chintalapati was walking through campus when he saw his classmate lying on the ground, shot.
How did you comfort your friend?
Just kept telling him he was okay and to breathe and just wait for the EMTs to arrive.
His classmate is in stable condition and recovering in the hospital. And now the victims being remembered. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt sharing a tribute to student Ella Cook. Cook's church also honoring her on Sunday.
She was an incredible, grounded, faithful, bright light.
Moments ago, we saw about 5 police officers arrive here at the building where the shooting took place. So it's clear that the investigation continues. The mayor says there will be a heightened police presence throughout the city today. Meanwhile, Brown has canceled all classes and finals for the rest of the semester. Back to you.
All right, Erin, thank you so much.
For more here, let's bring in NBC News law enforcement analyst Evie Pampora. She's also a former Secret Service special agent. Evie, good morning. Tough morning, a violent weekend, and a lot we want to unpack with you. Let's start with this shooting at Brown University. So there was this person of interest that was detained. They've been released. What does that mean here? Does that essentially mean that authorities are back at square one?
They're not saying too much at this moment. There was some confusion between person of interest and somebody in custody. When someone's in custody, it means they're not free to go. If you're a person of interest, you might know something, you were in the area. So based on what we're hearing from law enforcement and the press conferences they're giving, it does seem like they're looking at kind of square one. They don't have very good video footage. That's another thing that's been of a concern. Usually on campuses, and I'm an adjunct professor actually, so I'm used to the campuses. Ideally, you're going to have cameras on every entry point going in and out. So there's a question, how come you don't have that? How come that building didn't have that? The other thing that kind of concerns me with this is it's a Saturday afternoon class. So this person really, I feel like this person specifically picked this day in this class because it's Saturday afternoon.
Right.
Not a lot of students on campus. I taught weekend classes, so it's usually quite desolate and quiet. So that's another thing to think about. Why did you pick this specific day at this specific time? I think that they are looking. They're trying to get video. They did say that they're actually canvassing area, neighborhoods, homes to see if there's additional video. So I really do think that they will solve it. Mm-hmm. They will solve it. But I do think that they're trying to get a lot more information, and they may not have it. It's Providence Police is leading the investigation with the Attorney General. FBI is there to support. ATF is there to support. So they have those federal resources to help them.
It is so surprising at a major university like this that there weren't more cameras there. Yeah. So beyond trying to get more video footage, what are some of the other things that investigators are likely trying to do right now to figure out who this person is?
So I would be looking at obviously anything left behind, hair strands, clothing, any fabric on the ground, shoe prints, footprints, anything left from that person's stepping into the area. The other thing is cell phone footage. You know, if they're able to target what cell phones came into the building, checking the identity of the people with the cell phone. There's great ways to do that where you can check the towers when somebody's cell phone pings off of towers. So who was in that area? The one positive thing is because it is a Saturday afternoon and it's not busy, you're not going to be looking at as many people as you would on a weekday.
Let's switch gears here now and talk about the mass shooting at Bondi Beach in Australia. I'm wondering your observations on law enforcement presence, response time. It unfolded over what seemed like quite a while. What did you make of that?
Right. The reports are saying about 9 minutes of this, 9 minutes of shooting. That is an eternity when it comes to something like this. So the response time, again, you're looking at a beach. There's a lot of people there. We saw the footage, people running. So I don't know where law enforcement was exactly and if they had the capability of responding. So there seems to be quite a delay there, especially if there's services being there. We know that this was a Hanukkah event, that there were Jewish people there. So was there no local authorities? I mean, even here in New York City, anytime there's events, especially because of how the world is right now, you'll see police presence at a lot of religious places or events. So that's an area, that's something of a concern. And you see a civilian jumping in there to do something. That's how long it took for police to get there. You're looking at them just, even in this scenario, I mean, these shooters, they didn't care who they shot. I mean, they're just targeting massive amounts of people. You're looking at a beach. This is an open area, so they're not really caring who goes down or not in a scenario like this. I think they're going to look at What's interesting with the shooter is he came in 1998 on a visa, and then that visa converted to a different one, and then I believe a resident returning visa. And they talked about, we heard the prime minister before talking about weapons. So from what I understand, allegedly he had multiple guns. He had access to guns. He was part, allegedly, of a hunting club, so he was a hunter. So if you watch some of the footage of them shooting, you could see very tactical, very fast with the weapon, bolt action. So this is somebody who had a lot of practice, and I think this was planned for quite a bit. They also had an apartment nearby or an area nearby. Mm-hmm. So this is something that they really thought of. And then also possible Islamic ties or terror ties to IS. And so that's something else that they're looking at. I do know that the son allegedly had been on the radar for law enforcement. Mm-hmm. So that's going to come up. He was on the radar, then off. Why was he taken off?
Well, we have you. We do want to ask you about this tragedy. We began the hour with Rob Reiner and his wife stabbed. Obviously, a lot of questions about this, including who made that call to paramedics initially in the afternoon. What do you think the investigation is focusing on right now?
So when we looked at the aerial view earlier on, when we saw the reporting, you're looking at a house that's confined. It appears that there's walls. It's secure. The first thing you're going to look at is there any point? What are the points of entry? Any breaking and entering? Was there any forced entry? If there isn't, this person appears to be invited in, then it would be like, who do they know? Who did they let in? So I would also be looking at surveillance cameras from outside in the area going in. The other thing is this is a stabbing. Stabbing tends to be very personal, intimate. And then the other thing, it's two people that were stabbed, is what we're hearing. So is it one individual taking on two people stabbing? That would be an immense amount of power, where they're in separate parts of the house. That's what I would be looking at.
Aviv Hamporis, thank you very much for being with us on a very busy news morning. We appreciate it.
This morning, 69 million Americans from the Great Lakes to the East Coast are waking up under cold weather alerts. Overnight temperatures throughout the Midwest and Northeast fell to the single digits. We don't have to tell you that. Today's high temperatures in that region could be 15 to 20 degrees below normal.
And in western New York, they're getting blanketed with more lake effect snow this morning. Forecasters are saying parts of that area could get an additional 7 inches of snow just today, and then with more falling throughout the week. All this wreaking havoc on the roads with reports of accidents and stuck cars throughout the Northeast. In eastern Pennsylvania, over a foot of snow fell on the usually bustling highways, bringing them to a standstill. And then we're seeing ripple effects. Of course, flights across the country. 9,000 flights were delayed on Sunday, and more than 1,400 canceled altogether.
NBC News meteorologist Andrea Romero will join us with your forecast in just a moment. First, though, NBC News correspondent Sam Brock's just outside of New York City in Hartsdale and joins us with the latest. So, Sam, first, our apologies. We're sorry you're out there, but tell us, what's it like where you are this morning?
Do you mean that, Joe, or are you just saying that? Joe, Savannah, good morning. Great to be with you guys. We are starting our day right now, 17 degrees in Hartsdale. This feels amazing, guys. What am I complaining about? Do you know what it is in Chicago at the moment? 8 degrees, and it feels like -7 with wind chill. So what's some, teen level temperatures and some fresh snow here in Hartsdale? Why would that bother us? So about 5+ inches. You look behind me, you'll see a lot of the roads, guys, have been cleared here. A lot of these local roads in the Hudson River Valley. 5 to 10 inches throughout the tri-state area. Freehold, New Jersey, close to the high point on that, almost 10 inches. But if I transport you about 5 hours north from where I'm standing to Rochester, New York, Savannah was just talking about this a second ago. The lake effects there, so extreme. You're looking at 20+ inches of snow in parts of northern and western New York. That is also true, guys. If you go to Perrysburg, New York, that was the high across this entire snowfall, almost 24 inches. This is also the first significant snowfall for so many major metropolitan areas, whether it's New York, Boston, or Philadelphia. First snowfall of the year for all of those cities. I will tell you, though, the start of winter hasn't even arrived yet. That's December 21st. But the -9 and -7 wind chills that our staff tells us were recorded in New York and Boston over the weekend suggest otherwise, guys. But yes, it is not officially winter yet.
Wow, I did not realize that because it's felt like it for some time. Sam, travel-wise, flights, is that going to look any better today?
Much better to start the day, Savannah. You are under 1,000 total delays so far, a couple hundred cancellations, reversing that 24 hours. Look, I was flying into JFK yesterday, and the entire area was just blanketed in snow. the totals for the nation, almost 10,000 delays and roughly, several thousand cancellations. I think it was 1,500 cancellations, right? So that was a substantial figure there. Much better conditions to start off today.
And Sam, it was so cold in Chicago. Some hardy Bear fans actually left their game early. Others, I'm guessing, had their shirts off. So, probably a little bit of both. But real quick, just tell us how bad it was there.
I just applaud them for going in the first place. But I've been to a game at Soldier Field. I can tell you it is very cold in the winter. This was an all-timer, 8 degrees at kickoff, -10 wind chill, one of the 5 coldest games ever played at Soldier Field, and yet thousands of fans did stick it out. Some others decided to bolt. Fans we spoke with said that they were layered up in at least 3 or 4 different layers. Here's the good news, and you don't always get to say this as a Bears fan. They won. They beat the Browns. So if you're going to expend all of that energy, literally going out to the football field, at least to come away with a victory, guys.
It warmed their hearts. So there you go. All right. Sam Brock, stay warm.
Truly.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sam. All right, let's get a closer look at this winter weather with your Morning News Now forecast.
Meteorologist Andrea Romero joins us now. Good morning, Andrea.
Good morning, Joe and Savannah. It is dangerous cold that's gripping the eastern part of the country, as we can see these cold weather alerts that are extending all the way from the Great Lakes into the Northeast and even here into the South. We're talking about wind chills that are going to be in the single digits, the teens, the 20s. We could see some improvement by tomorrow morning, but the cold will definitely stick around throughout the day. We can see some of these cold temperatures right now. And of course, we're focusing on the wind chill because that's how it feels out there. 7 degrees in New York and Raleigh, 15 degrees this morning in Nashville, 4 degrees. So it's quite cold out there. Along with the cold weather, of course, we continue to see some snow in the Great Lakes. We have this quick cluster of snow that's crossing the Great Lakes, bringing more snow to the area. We have those blustery winds up to 35 miles per hour. And we can see additional snowfall totals of maybe 1 to even 5 inches, especially here in this area where we have those winter weather advisories, those lake effect snow warnings from Syracuse into Watertown. We're expecting those higher accumulations. Now we flip the map and we go out west. It remains quite active. We continue to see that atmospheric river continue to bring lots of rain to that area. We have one front that's crossing through the Pacific Northwest today, bringing that heavy rain and also those strong gusty winds, 50 miles per hour. We have another system moving in tomorrow with heavy mountain snow anticipating. And then we're expecting those showers to stretch into the northern Rockies with flash flooding and landslide risks in place. We're looking at rainfall forecast totals of maybe up to 8 inches, stretching all the way from Northern California into Washington state. And that's through Wednesday. We have those flood alerts through Thursday evening due to that elevated risk of flash floods and landslides for that area. And of course, the wind alerts, 10 million people are at risk of those destructive wind gusts of up to 50 to 60 miles per hour. The good news as far as the temperatures is that we do have some record warmth in the west, and some of that warm air is going to be moving into the east and will begin to moderate those temperatures as well throughout the week. And we're looking at temperatures that might be in the 60s as highs in Nashville on Thursday, as well as in Myrtle Beach, which sounds quite pleasant considering that the temperatures are so cold today.
40s in the upper Midwest.
Wow.
They'll be back in their T-shirts.
Yes, they will.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.